a 20-minute mobility session. And this is the kind of thing I like to do in the morning. You can do it really whenever. But it's a nice way to just get all of your body moving. And we'll do some yoga movements, but some of them are just mobility movements, just to get flexibility all through the body from head to toe. And yeah, I think that's it. Cool. So I've got Sarah with me. She's going to do some of the movements with me. She's going to do all the movements with me. And just kind of listen to your body when you do this stuff. You don't want to be forcing your body. You don't want to be hurting your body, obviously. So if something doesn't feel quite right, just back it off a little bit or do it a little bit differently. Make sure it feels comfortable in your body. Cool. So we're going to start off with the wrists. The wrists are really important. We're going to do some work to mobilize our wrists, but we also want to strengthen the wrists. That's one thing I actually wanted to say before we get into the session, that the difference, often mobility is considered the same as flexibility, but they're different things. So flexibility is our passive range of motion. And we can do a flexibility test just in like a forward bend if you have your legs out in front of you, based on how far you can draw yourself into a forward bend. But mobility would be actually lifting your legs off the ground. So there's an element of strength that goes into mobility, and it's the amount of strength that you have at your full range of motion. So a lot of the stuff we'll be doing today will be revolving around that. And so this is really good, especially I think for climbers, because a lot of what climbing is mobility work. You know, it's can you get your foot up to that hold and be strong in that position. It doesn't help if you have, if you have the flexibility to do the splits, but you can't move from that position, then your flexibility doesn't help you. So it's all about mobility and climbing. So I think this is a good session for all the climbers out there.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll start off with the wrists. So this one, just start kneeling. And this is my favorite way to warm up your forearms. You're going to take your arms into the air, and you're going to make a fist, and then you're going to flick your fingers out. Make a fist, and then flick your fingers out. And we'll do this about 50, 60 times. So do it pretty quickly. And there's only two actions, right? With squeezing in, it's almost like you're trying to squeeze an orange, trying to get all the juice out of an orange. And then when you flick your fingers out, it's a bit like you're flicking water off your fingers. So you want to make those two actions like really vigorous, because that's going to really help get the blood pumping into your forearms. Okay, so let's go for another 20. You probably feel the pump.
Yeah, I feel that already. Whoa.
This is my warm-up for sport climbing. Yeah? Get the forearms pumping before you actually get on the wall.
Ooh, ah.
Last 10, should be pretty hard now. 5, a little bit of cramping.
Yes.
3. Alright, that'll do. Okay, perfect. So now that gets the forearms warmed up. So now we come onto the hands and knees. And you're just going to make some circles with your shoulders. And this will just loosen up different parts of the wrist. And this is where you want to listen to your body. Wrist pain is pretty common when you start to do like real body weight training. So you want to take this slow and just listen to your body. Switch directions. Try and breathe through your nose while you're doing this and slow your breathing down. Good. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to turn your hands around and you're going to point your fingers towards your knees. This is really the number one stretch for climbers, to stretch out the forearms. This one, all you're going to do is just lean forwards and backwards. And you can do this with your toes tucked, and this gives you a little bit of toe mobility as well, a bit of mobility through the feet. That's how I like to do it. And with this one, you want to alternate between keeping your hands completely flat when you lean back, and then allowing the heel of your hand to lift up a little bit. And that will stretch out the finger extensors as well. So do a little bit of both. Okay, do one more time. Lean back and try and hold the stretch. Take a deep breath. This one can be quite tight, especially in the morning. Alright, and then peel the hands away. Flip the hands over. Yeah, it's quite a strong stretch. And this one now, you're going to bend your arms. You're going to make a fist in either hand. Now, it's really essential here that the fist doesn't start to unravel as you begin to straighten your arms. So begin to straighten the arms. Most people won't be able to get the arms straight, so just work where you are at. But if you can get your arms straight, you try and rotate your biceps forwards without turning your hands. And without turning the knuckles. So if your knuckles start to point in towards one another, then reset. heels, and then rotate the wrists a few times. Do that on the other side.
So do you do this routine every time before you jump on the wall?
I would do this more if I'm going to do a calisthenics workout.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing something that's like body weight training, then I want to have my wrists protected.
Yeah.
For climbing, it's more like I'll just do that one because I just want to get the forearms warmed up.
Cool.
Yeah, but the stuff that we're going to do in a moment with the hips and things like that, this is stuff that I'll do for climbing as well to get the lower half of the body loosened up so it's able to move a bit more freely.
Cool.
Okay, so let's do this now. Come back to this position where your fingers are pointing towards your knees, and you can stay like this. You can walk the knees back a little bit, or if you want a bit more of a challenge, you're going to straighten your legs out and come into a plank position like this. And you should feel your core brace when you do this position, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's a lot more challenging version to really wake up the core muscles. And let's hold for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your knees in, and then release. Okay? Okay. So from here, we'll bring ourselves into down dog. Just place the hands down, spread your fingers out, point your index fingers forwards, and then lift the hips up. And down dog is such a great position for getting full body mobility. So feel free just to straighten the legs one at a time, release any tension through the back of the legs. And for many of us, the upper back is quite a tight area. So to mobilize that, it's good to put a tiny bend in your knees, and then try and look at your knees and push your head and your chest closer towards your knees. And that's really mobilizing the upper back. As you do this, you're going to create a bit of stability now by hugging your forearms in towards one another. Draw your belly and your ribs in. So basically imagine you're wearing a corset and someone's tightening the strings around your back. Really engage that and try and push your head and chest back a little bit further. Now if you're quite flexible, you can even stretch the heels down at the same time, but that's optional. Take one more breath. Okay, and then lower the knees down. How's that feel?
Yeah, that's good.
That one's a good one to get you warmed up.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's work on a little bit of mobility now around the hips. So just step your right foot forwards and untuck the left toes and then stretch the arms up. You're going to look up and then you're going to inhale, bring your hands all the way together. You should feel a bit more stretch in the hip flexor. And then as you exhale, bring your left hand down, right arm up. Just turn the chest. So this is a really simple twist, but another good way to open up the upper back. To work a bit more on your stability, tuck your back toes, straighten your back leg. Okay, now next movement gets a little bit tricky, but give this a go. What you're going to do is slide your right foot back halfway, and then you're going to drop onto the pinky toe edge of your back foot. From that position, see if you can lift your right foot up, and then place your right foot on top of your left foot. So you're in side plank. Yeah, a bit of wobbles in the first one. Take a breath there. Now we try and do it in reverse. Lift your right foot away from your left foot. Bring your knee to your chest and see if you can do it all the way to the top of the mat. See if you can step your right foot all the way forwards. And then lower your back knee down. Nice. Inhale, stretch the arms up, look up. And this time bring your thumbs to your chest. Take your left elbow to the outside of your knee. Press into your right hand, turn your shoulders. Again, you can do this like this, or you can tuck your back toes and straighten the back leg and work a bit of stability in the legs. Now make sure, in all of these movements basically, you want to breathe deeply, but especially a twist, where a lot of the benefits are derived from breathing and from cleansing out the organs. Okay, look down, release. Good, you're going to straighten this front leg now. Point the right toes up and fold forwards. So this is a good example of just passive flexibility. And this is something that, you know, when you're really warming up the body, you don't want to do too much of this stuff. This is kind of stuff that you would do more of after a climbing session or after you've done a full yoga session. You know, once your body's like really warmed up, then these stretches become really useful. But anyway, it's good to do it just a little bit at the start here, just to feel where the tension is in the body. Okay, come out of that. Let's try that transition again. Left hand down, right arm up. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. See if you can do it in one motion now. So without sliding the foot, see if you can lift your right foot up, step it on top of your left foot. Ooh, nice. Lift the hips up. Take a breath there. And then bring both hands down. Come into plank pose. We'll just do one vinyasa here. Yeah? So you're going to lower halfway down, squeeze your elbows in. Flip your feet over into upward facing dog, lift your head. If this back bends a little bit much, then just bend your arms and hold a cobra position. And then tuck your toes, come into downward facing dog. Another deep breath. Good. Lift your left leg up. You're going to step your left foot in between your hands. Lower your back knee down, untuck the toes, and then lift your chest and your arms. Look up at your hands. You're going to inhale, bring your hands closer and closer together until you feel a good stretch. And exhale, bring your right hand down. Stretch your left arm up. Either stay like that or tuck your toes, straighten your back leg. Turn the left shoulder. And we'll do it the slightly easier way here. Slide your left foot halfway back. Point the toes to the left. Drop onto the pinky toe edge of the right foot. Then pick up your left foot and step it onto the top of your opposite foot. Alright, in reverse. Lift the left foot up. Bring the knee into the chest, and you're trying to step it all the way forwards in one motion. And then lower the back knee down. Nice. Lift the chest up. Lift the arms up. So that movement there, where we're going from this position into side plank, that's a good example of mobility. So because we need that stability in the shoulders, and we need that ability to control our core all the way through that range of movement. So that's a good one just to warm up the body. Bring your thumbs to your chest, and take your right elbow to the outside of your knee. Press into the left hand and twist. If you want to go deeper, need the stability, tuck the back toes, straighten the back leg. Breathe deeply, try and use your full diaphragm. Feel like you're breathing into your belly. And then release. Lower the back knee if it's lifted. Straighten the front leg, point the toes up. If you're quite tight, you know, I remember when I started yoga, even just getting a little bit here was going to be super intense. You're just going to have the hands on the leg in that case, or the hands on the shin. When you get more mobile, hands on the ground. And those that are really flexible, rather than thinking about I've got to bring my head down to my knee, which just puts flexion in the spine, think about I'm going to bring my ribs closer to my thigh. And that way it's getting more of the mobility and the flexibility in the hamstring, which is where we want it. Pause and take a deep breath. Okay, get the foot flat again. And now we'll do the advanced transition if we can. Right hand down, left arm up. And I'll show you here actually the fully modified transition is with the knee on the ground, you pick the foot up and step it back. So for those that are really struggling with this movement, keep your knee on the ground the whole time, yeah? But if you want to do the more challenging movement, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. From here, you're going to really press into the right hand, lift the left foot up in one motion. Take it on top. This is always go right. Press the hips up. And then both hands down. Okay, so find a plank position, inhale there. Exhale, lower halfway. And now your choice of cobra or up dog. So bent arms for cobra, straight arms with the knees lifted for up dog. And then tuck the toes, come into down. Okay, place the knees down. just work on a few other areas of hip mobility. So we've done a little bit for the hip flexor, now we'll do a little bit for the outer hip. So the way this looks, I'm going to show you this one first. This is a full and triangle position. So I start from a plank position, I'm going to lift my left foot, bring my knee to my opposite arm, and then extend the leg out to the side. With this one, if you're tight, the foot goes further back. If you're flexible, the foot goes further forwards. From here, I'm going to push the hips up and lean a little bit to the side. If I feel comfortable, the back foot will go up and the top arm will reach up. Yeah? So this is the starting movement. The more advanced mobility movement from here, I'm going to rotate my back foot backwards, bend my knee, tap the knee, and then straighten the leg. Bend, tap the knee, straighten the leg. This is going to create a lot of mobility on the inner thighs, and it's going to create a lot of stability in the shoulder. Yeah, a little confusing this one.
Whoa.
Okay, so we'll do it step by step. I'm in plank. You're going to take your left knee to your right arm, as close to it as you can, and then extend your leg to the right. Remember, foot further back to make it easier, foot further forward to make it harder. With both hands on the ground, push your hips up and to the right. Should feel quite a strong stretch in the left outer hip. Not always a comfortable. Okay, now give this a go. Back foot flat, right arm up. So this is all about stability. Now look at your right foot. Try and turn your right toes to point directly away from you. And then you're going to bend your right knee. Try and tap the knee. The further the hips move in that direction, the harder. And then straighten the leg. Nice. Okay. Bend the knee. Tap the knee. Straighten. Reach the arm over the ear. Do that 3 more times. Inhales, you bend. Exhales, you straighten. 2. Feel free to split the legs further apart or bring the feet closer together if you need to. Last one. Beautiful. Both hands down. Come back into down dog. Take a deep breath there. Come into plank. Now take your right knee to your left elbow. Extend the leg off to the side. Keep both hands on the ground. Push your hips up. Lean a little bit to the left. We'll get into that sticky area. So getting into the TFL, a little bit of the IT band. Even if you're a runner, these areas are going to be tight. Yes. Okay, now back foot flat, left arm up. So there's a lot of oblique control here. Try and do a side crunch and lift the hips up. Turn the left toes away from you. Then bend the left knee, tap the knee. Straighten the left leg, and then bring the arm over the ear. So I'm going to readjust the feet if you need to. Yep. Bend, tap, straighten, arm over the ear. Number 3. You move your hips further back, it gets a little deeper. 2. And then last one. Perfect. Both hands down. Come back into down dog. Okay. And then bring the knees down. Whew, get a bit warmer?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we're almost done now. So we'll swing the legs in front of us. And now we'll do a little bit of that hamstring mobility work I was highlighting at the start. So, this is the most horrible stuff.
Yeah, I know.
If you've ever done compression work, I don't know if anyone actually enjoys compression work, but this is the stuff that definitely, like, for climbers in particular, you know, anytime you have to do like toe hook maneuvers, anytime you're climbing on a roof terrain, this kind of stuff really is where we need to be strong, which is in the hip flexors, and having a bit more hamstring mobility makes it easier when you're doing kind of Mansley style climbs. Yeah? So lots of applicability to climbers, and then of course if you're doing like things like handstand press and things like that, this is the strength that you'll need. Okay, so we start with the toes pointed. The general advice is have your fingertips next to your knees. If it's very challenging, you're going to have your fingertips behind you, so you can actually lean back and make it significantly easier. Yeah? So just know that's always an option. We do one leg at a time at the start. So just start with your left leg. Lift your foot up, maybe a couple of centimeters. So you don't want to go lower than that point here. Now lift up higher, and then lower down. We go for 9, 8, 7, 6. You might get a bit of cramping. 5, 4, 3, 2. The last one you've got to lift and hold. For 4 is where you might cramp. Shaky legs. 3, 2, 1. Alright, that's enough of that. Okay, now let's try the right leg, lift the right foot just a tiny bit. That's your low point. And then we're going up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, big smiles, 5, 4, 3, 2, and a lovely one, lift and hold. Yeah, allow your legs to shake, a little bit of cramping is good. 3, 2, 1, and then release. Okay, so we'll do a little passive flexibility now. So you're going to reach out either for the legs or for the toes. If you draw the toes back, you get a deeper stretch. This will also go into the calves, which connects to the hamstrings. So manage it that way. And that's the reason why we point the toes when we're doing the leg lifts, because you want to take out the tightness in your calves when you're doing a compression work. Yeah? If I did my leg lifts like this, I can't get them quite as high as if I go like that. So you want to give yourself the most advantage when you're doing all that compression work. And so generally, you know, how far we lean forwards, if our mobility matches our flexibility, we should be able to, from there, you know, lift the feet up. But ultimately, there's usually a bit of a gap. So ultimately that means you've got to lean back a little bit to get the feet up. But you just do your best. So now we're going to do both legs. Point the toes. Fingertips where you want them. Squeeze the belly in. Big smiles. Lift the feet a tiny bit. And then we're going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Let's love it. 4, 3, 2. And last one. Hold it for 4, 3, 2, and then release.
Brutal.
Alright. Yeah, that one's never fun. Okay, let's just reverse that stretch. So bend your knees. We're going to do a reverse tabletop. Take your hands behind you. Press your hips all the way up towards the ceiling. If your neck is okay, look up at the ceiling. This is a chest opener as well as a hip flexor opener. So try and press your hands out towards the sides. Open up the chest. Press your hips up a little bit higher. Take a deep breath. Good, and then lower down. Awesome. Just bring the soles of your feet together now, drag them in. Hold around the feet. Okay, so passive flexibility here would be where I use my arms to press my shins down. Active flexibility would be where you use your outer hip muscles to take your knees wider apart. I'll actually turn for this one. So there's two ways to get this active flexibility to work. One action is you squeeze your feet together, and the other action is you're just actively trying to take your knees apart using the hip muscles rather than using the arm muscles. And this is going to help us in terms of actually getting a level of flexibility that is in line with our strength, let's say. Hold for a couple of breaths there. Back that off. And just come into a comfortable cross-legged sitting position. Perfect. So we're just going to do a brief meditation now, just to kind of center ourselves. So just get a comfortable seat. You can have your hands on your knees, or have your hands one on top of the other. And then close your eyes. And for meditation, it's generally beneficial to get your spine as vertical and upright as possible. So imagine you've got a string on the top of your head, almost like you're a puppet. And the string is being pulled upwards. Yeah, so get the spine completely stacked. And then relax your shoulders. Try and relax all of the muscles in your face. And now you're still breathing through your nose. But this time without any attempt to lengthen or deepen your breath. Just whatever your natural breath is, feel what that is. Feel how your body feels internally. And we just take 20 seconds. Just see if you can keep your mind focused on your breath. go.
I want to stay there forever.
It's always good to take a little time out. Kind of like, sometimes, you know, when you think about meditation, like, oh, I don't have time for that, but it only takes 30 seconds to just kind of go into your own space, don't think about anything else. That's what I've been talking a lot about on my own social media, is the importance of creating good habits for your health, especially during this time. You know, like brushing your teeth is one habit that we have for our health that we all do, hopefully, but we want to have habits that help our body, like we've just done, habits that help our mind, and habits that keep us healthy and positive for our whole life. So anyway, yeah, so I've showed you there like a good routine to really just get your whole body moving. You know, we did some stuff for the wrists, we did some stuff for our hips, we did some good stuff for our shoulder stability. There's a whole bunch more you can do, but that's kind of a good base to just kind of be ready to do anything. You know, after that, I feel like I can go, oh yeah, I can do whatever I need to do now. Now, anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. Thanks, Shawn.
Awesome.
That's lovely.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks. Bye.